Hey guys, just got back from the theater from seeing The Wolf of Wall Street. Know a lot of people have been really waiting for my opinions on this movie. But before I get into that review, I want to reiterate something that I talked about in my last review, and that is this will be my last movie review for the year of 2013. Obviously, I'll be having a best and worst list like everybody else in the next couple days. Um, but as far as movie reviews go, there won't be any more until 2014, which is only in a couple days, and I'll obviously probably have a review uh, this Friday. Mostly it depends on what my car situation. If anybody hasn't watched my reviews, I wrecked my car about a week ago. I'm still trying to deal with that. So anyways, uh, because of me, not doing any more movie reviews till 2014, I won't be able to see such movies as Saving Mr. Banks, Nelson Mandela biopic, and Anchorman 2, and Her until 2014. Her hasn't even came out to my theater. It doesn't come out until like uh, a couple weeks from now. Uh, and I'm not really looking forward to Her whatsoever. But because it's getting really well received, and I still don't understand why, but it's getting really well received, so I gotta kind of go see it and check it out for myself. Maybe I'm wrong about it. I don't know. Um, so yeah, expect those reviews to come sometime in 2014. I can't guarantee you when. Uh, I'll probably wait a lot of those movies until they come to the cheap theater. But anyways, let's talk about Wolf of Wall Street. The Wolf of Wall Street has been a movie, like I said, that a lot of people have been wanting to hear my opinions on. Um, a lot of friends of mine have been, at least. And This is a movie I've been really looking forward to. One, the trailers for this movie have been phenomenal. They sold me instantly from the get go. I've been wanting to see this movie since I saw the first trailer and was sold on it. And also, it was directed. This movie is directed by Martin Scorsese. In my opinion, Martin Scorsese is the greatest living director out there today. He is the standard bearer when it comes to directing. I mean, people go to New York Film Institute to be taught by Martin Scorsese. If you don't know, he actually teaches at New York Film Institute. That's a fact that most people know, but if you don't, then there you go. There's a new fact for you. I would love that. As being an aspiring director myself, I think I would love to be taught by Martin Scorsese. I would love to pick his brain, and learn what comes in his head trying to pick these projects, especially this one. Um, but I was really looking forward to this a lot uh, because I am a huge Martin Scorsese fan, and I wasn't going to make a top 10 list until I saw this movie because I knew this was a almost guaranteed contender for best film of the year. And I'm going to be honest, as it stands right now, and I know I have a few days to think about it, this movie, in my opinion, right now, as I'm speaking, I definitely think this is the best film of the year. I'm going to think about it a little bit more for the next few days, trying to decide which one I really like the most. But honestly, if I were to pick my favorite film of this year so far, I would go, right now, today, I would say Wolf of Wall Street. This movie was phenomenal. This movie was great. It's one of Scorsese's riskiest movies. One of the things I love about Martin Scorsese is that he doesn't do the exact same kind of movie every time. I mean, hell, last movie he did was a kids movie, Hugo. And a lot of people were really like, really? Martin Scorsese's doing a kids movie? And even some people that were friends of his, producers of his, were like, really? You're going to do a kids movie? And it ended up being one of the best kids movies out there. And now he does a movie that looks on paper as a Wall Street movie. But really, it's an allegory about greed, about the pursuit of the American dream. It has a really great message about it. And it also is a Wall Street movie, but it isn't like your typical Wall Street movie where it's, really confusing, sometimes boring. Because that's one of the problems I have with Wall Street movies. Even movies like Wall Street, which is considered the best movie. I mean, I'm not a stockbroker, and I don't want to be one. And when they talk all that mumbo jumbo, it goes through one ear out the other. And in this one, because of that, I usually with those movies I usually am bored. This one I wasn't bored whatsoever. Another thing that makes this movie great, what makes this different from anything that Scorsese's ever done, is that this is the sleaziest fucking movie I've ever watched. My God, there's so much drugs, sex, nudity, foul language. It right now holds the record for the second, or the movie with the second most uses of the F word in a film that is not a documentary. That, if you can understand that, look it up. I'm not joking. It's pretty fucking funny. It's beat movies like Scarface, End to Watch, Pulp Fiction as one of the most uses of the F word. And this movie has so much political incorrectness that you wouldn't believe, and I almost had a hard time believing it, because you don't see that in freaking films nowadays. A lot of stuff you see in this film, you don't see a lot in these days because of the political correctness that we live in, PC world that we live in. But that's not the only good thing about this fucking movie. This movie really relies on its actors, and the actors are fucking phenomenal. Everyone from top to bottom is great in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's talk about Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio, if it wasn't for that guy who did the 12 Years a Slave movie, I would say Leonardo DiCaprio was the favorite to win Best Actor, and I really want him to pull off a surprise win come Oscar time. That guy is long deserving of an Oscar, and this, in my opinion, is one of his best performances ever. And I said that last year about Django. This is almost up there, in my opinion, maybe even better than Django. He's over the top like he was in Django. He is charming as hell. You can believe that anybody would want to work with this guy, that anybody would want to follow this guy. I wanted to work for this guy after I watched this movie. I wanted to go into fucking stockbroking and maybe do the same thing he did. I mean, he makes the stuff that he's doing look cool, even though if it's not very ethical. And he's very likable, even though he's doing some unethical things. He's really fucking good in this role. Like I said, he is very over the top, and there's nothing but over the top characters in this movie. Trust me, he's not the only one. If he was the only one, then maybe that would be distracting. But almost everybody in this movie is way over the top, plays it way over the top. Jonah Hill's a good example. I would really like Jonah Hill. This is one of his craziest performances. He probably should get an Oscar nomination for this too. He plays a guy just like Leonardo DiCaprio that's fucking coked up half the time on, what is it, lewd, Quaaludes. Him and Leonardo DiCaprio. Sorry, I had to try to think of what it was. Or spent half the movie high off of Quaaludes. That's like one of the biggest storylines throughout the movie. Like their experiences with these Quaaludes that they keep taking, and Jonah Hill is just fucking nuts in this movie. He's just about as nuts as fucking Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe even more. He amps it up like to 100, like the nuts factor. He is crazy in this movie. Just to show like what kind of like political incorrectness that you see in this movie, his character, when they first introduce him, the movie tells you that he's married to his cousin. No fucking joke. He's married to his cousin, and they just kind of go along with it. That's it. You know, it's like whatever. It's just like given the matter of fact. They do express like, oh, don't you worry about your kids being mentally retarded, and he's like, yeah, there's a 65% chance, but whatever. It's like, what the fuck? And, you know, it's you know, you don't see shit like that, especially incest in fucking movies nowadays. I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but but it's like, wow, it's pretty crazy when that's first revealed. One of my favorite performances, also in this movie, that is very short but very effective, is Matthew McConaughey. My God, I wanted more of him in this movie. If there's one complaint I could have in this movie, is that there was not enough Matthew McConaughey. This guy stole the scenes he was in. He fucking chewed up all the scenery, but he was fucking great. I loved him in this role. He was only in the movie for like less than 20 minutes, but he is really funny. He plays Leonardo DiCaprio's mentor that Leonardo DiCaprio meets when he first goes into stockbroking, and he basically kind of lives. Leonardo DiCaprio ends up kind of living his lifestyle through what Matthew McConaughey taught him, and just like Matthew McConaughey is just insane. He's hysterical. Like, he has the most memorable part of the whole movie. It was like, like, no reason. He just starts doing that, and it's fucking great. I don't know why he does it, but it's fucking great. And it's like, it doesn't come back at the end, like towards the end of the movie, and it's pretty funny. Like, it got a kick out of the people in the theater. Who else is in this? Rob Reiner's in this movie, who plays Leonardo DiCaprio's dad, and he's really great. He's over the top and really great. Jon Favreau's in this movie as Leonardo DiCaprio's lawyer. Who the fuck else? There's like so many fucking people in this movie. That chick who played Leonardo DiCaprio's, I don't know her name. I'm sorry I don't know her name. I didn't recognize her. I don't think I've ever seen her or anything. Plays Leonardo DiCaprio's second wife. Who's just a fucking gorgeous girl. Is like a supermodel, like almost. Does very well. She's pretty good. I can understand why anybody would leave their wife for her. I'm sorry. That sounds really sexist, but whatever. I really love this story, too, because, like, it's a really good story, because, honestly, you can understand some of the things why Leonardo DiCaprio does the things he does. He's basically just chasing the American dream. He is relatable because he started out. Basically, this guy did start out as in a middle class family and worked his way up to becoming a stockbroker, and then went from there, owning his own stock brokerage company, and then going to high levels, like making shitloads of money, more than he can handle, and it ends up costing him a lot of trouble, because he does do unethical things. While he is very likable and very relatable, he does unethical things to get to the top. I mean, he basically gets people to buy stock in the companies that he owns 85% share in, stuff like that. He also, it's kind of hard to explain, but he, gets money off some more profits than he needs to and puts it in Swiss bank accounts, and that gets him in trouble. That's what ends up really getting him in trouble in the end. Oh yeah, by the way, like, when they go put his money into Swiss bank accounts, John Dujardin shows up. This is the first time I've seen him. John Dujardin, if you don't know who he is, was the main guy from The Artist. And he got so much praise. He got not Best Actor and all stuff like that. And a lot of people were wondering, could he transition into a film where he wasn't doing a silent or film character? And he does really well in this scenes. he plays the fact that he's French. He's French, and he sometimes it's hard to understand what he's saying. He plays it that kind of role. Some of the laughs that his character has is because of like you can't understand what the hell he's saying sometimes. He's does pretty damn well, I think. Um, he's really good in this flick. He's not in the movie a lot, but when he's in it, he's pretty damn good. I want to see more of this guy, honestly. I'm kind of glad that he got it because honestly, until this, he hasn't done anything else. I'm trying to think of what else I want to talk about. Uh, I I do recommend. I think I told. I don't know if I told the story, but my buddy told me that he made the mistake of seeing this movie with his mother. He told me this on Facebook. I do not recommend seeing this with your mother. There's a lot of sex. I mean, there's a lot of nudity. At one point in this movie, from what I was told, I think one of the reasons why it was supposed to come out in November. I think one of the reasons why it got held back till the Christmas was because it needed to be cut down to an NC-7 or from an NC-17 to rated R. As this movie does kind of like you know, almost cross the line between the two. I mean, I've seen a lot worse in film, but I could see where this could got an NC-17. There's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of tits and ass. It's unapologetic whatsoever. There's a lot of stuff that you would never see in film. I mean, there's stuff where they're tossing midgets and making fun of midgets. There's a lot of weird dialogue in this movie that you would never see in a fucking movie nowadays because of it being a PC era. This movie, I can't recommend this movie more. I don't want to spoil too much. There's a lot to talk about with this movie because that is one thing I will maybe complain a little bit about. It didn't bother me too much, but this movie is a little long. It is 1 minute short of 3 hours, and it is a long sit. There's no doubt about it. Anytime there's a movie that's 3 hours long, it's going to be a long sit. There was a couple times I'm like, God damn, I thought I was really far along into the movie, and then I would find out it was only 50 minutes into the movie, and you're like, God damn! Like, how much more can you get into this? Like, and like, I was kind of worried, like, is this movie going to keep my attention for another 2 hours? I mean, it's been interesting so far, but I don't know how long it can keep my attention. And honestly, the good thing is it did keep my attention. I do think probably this movie could have been cut shorter, which this is kind of funny also, because that was also one of the reasons why it got moved back, was so it could get cut shorter. This is the shorter version of Martin Scorsese's movie. I'm not joking. So I don't know how long the original version was supposed to be. I'm probably maybe 3.5 hours. I don't know. I wouldn't want to. I'm glad he cut it down to at least a little bit under 3 hours, because I couldn't sit there for 3.5 hours. Even if it's as good of a movie, I'm glad it's still a little bit long, but it's still really fucking entertaining. This movie did keep my interest the whole time. I loved every character that was on screen. That really helped that I liked every character on screen. I wasn't annoyed by anybody. All the performances were really great. I love the story. I want to read the book. I mean, this shows the rise and fall of this guy. Because in the end, he gets his comeuppance. Let's just say. I mean, if you don't know that, I'm sure pretty much anybody probably will figure that out halfway through the movie. I mean, the FBI's after him, And what he has to do is kind of heartbreaking to get... what he ultimately has to do is kind of heartbreaking, because he kind of has to... I'm trying not to spoil this, but I guess it will be spoiled. Like, he has to kind of rat out his friends in order to save his own ass. And it's kind of sad, because you actually really like these characters. Even though they do despicable things. That's one of the things I love about this movie is that they made Wall Street people that right now in today's society who are are people that you would never have guessed would be likable characters in films. Martin Scorsese does it, and the cast helps immensely. That really helps. Just if it would have been a lesser director and a lesser cast, this movie wouldn't have been as good. Yeah, I mean, this movie, I highly recommend this movie. Obviously, it's the best thing. If you haven't seen, if you already seen, I would probably say go see a double feature of this and American Hustle while they're both still out. And anything else you haven't seen that I've recommended, like Gravity or Captain Phillips. I know they're at a cheap theater nowadays. I mean, this has been a shitty year for film, but this was a great way to end it. Fuck yeah! I mean, but anyways, I got some trailers. Maybe I can talk about a little bit about there. I got the new Dawn of the Planet of the Apes trailer, which that was the only really notable trailer I got. Which it was a teaser, and I was sold on it. It's got Caesar the ape, Caesar in war paint, which is kind of funny. As funny as that sounds, it's kind of cool. I liked it. I was like, I liked the trailer. It still takes place before the Planet of the Apes, original Planet of the Apes happened. So I'm wanting to see where it goes from here. That looks like it'll be fun. I'm thinking what else. I think that's only really. I got a lot of just same old trailers. Oh, I got that 3 Days to Kill with Kevin Costner, who apparently is trying to, from what I got from this trailer, is that he's trying to do what Liam Neeson's doing and become the new big action star. It looks like this looks like a movie that fucking Liam Neeson would have done. I don't know about it. It didn't look that bad. Honestly, it didn't look that bad. Whatever. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan, so whatever. But anyways, this is only 2 trailers I can think of that were new. Sort of missing something here, but whatever. Anyways, go see Wolf of Wall Street, and I'll be back probably New Year's Eve with my best and worst of the year list. And other than that, I'll be back review-wise probably next with either the new Mandela movie, if I get a chance around to seeing it this week, or if not that, the new or Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, which is what I lovingly call Paranormal Activity, the Mexican version. So I'll be back with one of those, or back obviously next with the best and worst list, and I'll talk to you guys later.